Alright, this is Michigan International Speedway, and I'm car 39, and you need to know that because we've got radios in our ears, and the spotter is coaching us, narrating all along the way, guiding us, make sure we do things right. So I'm following the pace car. I happen to be first in line of 4 cars that they took onto the track, and I thought that I started out in second gear. We struggled there for a bit. Because I actually had started in reverse. They told me that, bottom left was second gear, but actually it was reverse. So started in what I thought was second gear, and so they were out on the track now, and they're starting to say, car 39, close that gap, you got to catch up to the pace car. And of course me, I'm being a cautious driver, so I start to kick it in. You can hear the engine go a bit. And then they said, okay, about now, car 39, you should be shifted into fourth gear. So you see me trying to jam it to the right, even let go of the wheel with both hands, and that was a bad idea. Ends up I was already up against the wall and in fourth gear, so I'd started in fourth gear, but boy, I was going to be ticked if I was doing this whole thing in second gear, and they're like, alright, fourth gear. I said, I already am, but they couldn't hear me. Now this raceway is the shape of a D, and we'd started out of the pit stop on the straight heading south, and now we're coming around the bottom of the D, heading out onto the track, and I see all these skid marks. I start freaking out. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is where people die. So I'm taking a mental note. I got to be careful coming out of that turn. And then they said, car 39, you got to close that gap. Get right up there because I got 3 other cars behind me. Now there's no speedometer. There's no mirrors. You don't know what's going on behind you. I just know there's 3 other cars behind us. And we all have to do a passing drill in which they will take 2 cars and shove them to the left and tell the other 2 cars to pass them, and then get the first 2 cars back in line. And then later on they'll do that again, so everybody passes and everybody gets passed. So now we're coming around the top of the D, and you might be able to see tape on the ground. Following this pace car, they're taking us right through what they call gates for the optimal drive, so you don't go slingshotting off the top, but you'll see some green tape on your left right there and orange on the right. So now we're coming down the straightaway of the D, and we have to wave as we go past the finish line, to wave to the spotter to prove that our radio's on, to do a radio check. So there's the spotter, we wave out, and there's the finish line, and we're alongside the pit stop. Going down the straightaway, family's back there. So now we're picking up speed. There was the tape gates again. Keep the one color on your left, the other color on your right. So now we're coming around the bottom of this D, and we're starting to pick up pace, and it's tougher to keep up with this car. The G-forces are starting to throw you into your seat. I had strapped myself in really well. They strapped me in, and then I pulled everything tighter. And you can hear me just starting to gun it out of here. It was pretty fun to try to keep up with that guy. And they're preparing us, saying, okay, cars 39 and 10, prepare to go left and lift, prepare to go left and lift, not yet. And then they say, okay, 39 and 10, go left and lift. So you lift off the gas, steer to the left. And you're starting to lose, and you see these other 2 cars, and they're yelling in the radios, other 2 cars, go, 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 catch up, close the gap. And once they're cleared, then they say, car 39 and 10, you're cleared. Go catch the pack. And it was hard. We'd lost a lot of speed, and I had to just floor it to try to go catch those guys, and I'm still not catching in. I'm still not closing in on them. We're coming around the top, and it's tough to stay in the gates. Man, you gotta just, the G-forces were pretty good. And they were telling me, car 39, go get him, go close the gap. So I did. Caught up. So now they tell them, go left and lift. And now 39-10, close the gap, go catch the pace car. So we just flooring it to this point, passing those guys up. Felt so good. And we know we're coming up in front of our families again. And there was the finish line. So they wanted us to start spreading out the pack about now. We've all completed our passing drill. And so they want to start putting some space between us. There's those gates again. You got to be in the optimal place so you don't slingshot off the top of the track. I'm really trying to keep up with this guy now, and putting some pace between us and space between the cars, and just flooring it coming out of the bottom of that D. Felt so good. And they really do want you to stay way out along the edge, along that wall. Don't know why. I'll find out later. So I'll just let you hear the car engine as I try to catch this pace car. By the way, the pace car is a rental car, so if you ever wonder what happens to your rental cars, they drive it on the Michigan International Speedway. So we're done with our passing drills. We're coming around the top of the D, coming down the straight, and I know he's going to leave and go pit, and that's our signal for we got the green flag. And we know when we cross this start/finish line now, it's all us. And I just opened up the throttle. It was so fun. Just go hauling on by that start right there. And so we're in. And I know I got 3 people behind me, and I have no intention of letting anybody pass me. And I'm a little bit cautious, so I started coasting there. And yeah, not taking as fast as I could.
Cars have a max.
Yeah, they do. We have a rev limiter, and I think you heard me hit it back there. I don't get to hear the sound while I'm narrating here, but I just floor it coming out of the bottom here. Oh yeah, you didn't hear the rev limiter yet. Coming around this long part of the D is where you should be going fast, but I'm still playing it cautious a bit. Coming out the top of the D. You see some white dust on the ground. That's where another guy forgot to turn on his blower, and so his fan didn't work and he blew his engine. It cost him at least $1,000. Coming out of this, slingshotting. I know my family's up ahead there. Just floored it. Wanted to show off. Felt so good. And then you'll hear a sound here. The rev limiter, right there. That's me. I can't go any faster. The car's topped out. They won't let us go any faster. So coming into these turns this fast, they really were careful. They said you've got to track your eyes way ahead. If you look closer and closer to your car, you'll drive closer and closer to the wall. So it was really tough to fight the G-forces and tell your head to look way out there. I'm just opening up now, and I haven't really been hitting any brakes yet, too much too early. I've just been kind of coasting out, top speed there, starting to let off the gas, coast into the top of the D. And a couple of laps further, I'll actually push it further and then not slam on the brakes, but hit the brakes harder. Corner, getting around in front of my family again. Just still hitting it pretty hard. Driving through there. Coming around the corners and coming out. I still didn't know how hard to push through those corners, and again, you just felt like you're going to slide off the track in any other Civic or whatever else I was driving, so I wanted to be able to stretch it. Love how the car shakes when you hit that near top speed, but you can go a bit further, and then you coast out. So now I'm starting to wait a bit while further and then put on the brakes harder into the curves, but boy, I was terrified. I didn't want to go into a spin. So coming up here, you'll see one of the professional drivers pass me on the left, and these guys don't have a rev limiter, and they know the track, and they know how to drive. So zoom, there he goes, and I knew, oh, this is my chance. I gotta go catch that guy and track him through the curve just to know how fast I can handle this car, or at least how fast he's going and still sticking to the road. And as you can see, I couldn't even keep up with him. So I'm just hauling and realizing, ouch, this really hurts in the corners, and he was going faster, so I am okay to go really fast in the cars. He was gone. So those guys, they pay, and they have 4 laps that they pay for, and it may have been valuable to do that just to know how hard I could have been pressed into my seat and still stuck on the track. So now I'm starting to lay into these corners a little bit more aggressive. I've only got a few more laps left, and as you can, my splits, when I got my splits later, I was doing about 1:03, 1:04 for these 2-mile track, and after that guy passed me, My next 3 laps were just 1 minute even, every single one of them. I think you can hear me hit the rev limiter sooner because I know I'm doing better now. I'm hitting that rev limiter sooner, and I'm pushing a lot harder. So I try this corner again, coming out of the straightaway and going into the bottom of the D. And I honestly don't remember this guy on the right here passing me. But again, it's one of those ride-along passengers. And I tried to keep up with him, and I have a rev limiter and they don't. I so badly wanted to pass someone. I was getting passed by these two guys and I wasn't offended. But I'm just stretching everything the best I can, and I just wanted to pass. I wanted to pass somebody. And I have no idea where anybody is because I've got no mirrors. I just knew I'd never been told to go left and lift. That felt good. No one was passing me. So yeah, these 1 minute splits on a 2-mile track, that's an average of 120 miles an hour. That's average. I slowed down in the corners, which means I sped up on the straightaways, which means I was going over 120. That felt really good. Just let you hear the track for a while now. The sun in your eyes was not as bad as it looks on this camera. I was further back in the cockpit and I had a bit more shade to hide behind than the camera did. As you can see, I was straddling the green there, the tape and the gate, and they started telling me, car 39, you got to get back up in the gates. You can't be straddling. You got to get back up and follow through the gates, because they had these other passenger cars that needed to know that I was out of the way when they needed to pass. Coming out of the bottom here, I know I'm well over halfway done with my laps. I'm coming up to the end and I've just never seen anything except these professional drivers pass me. It turns out I'm looking up ahead and I see a car, and it's the M&M car. I'm like, oh yeah, I got one more chance to pass somebody. So you can see him up there, and there they tell him M&M car, or they give him a number. They say go left and lift. He pops out of the way. They say, car 39, you're clear to pass. And oh man, did I. Woo! You see my head jerk about right now? Right there. I was just overcome with awesomeness, and there was the green flag, and it's up. I just yelled out loud back there. When I passed the guy, I just yelled. It felt so exhilarating. Oh no, that wasn't the checkered flag. I was still green. It's not over yet. So now I've lapped one of my own 4 guys that started with me, and I'm just going all at, and finally hit the rev limiter on the D. I'd only hit that rev limiter over on the straightaway, but there it was. I felt so good. I was pushing things so hard that I hit the rev limiter out on the D. Didn't want to slide off the track. I just had to make it around and hug my family. Open that throttle, because I knew this was the last lap, and they're starting to tell us over the radio, 39 approaching the checkered flag, and the last lap coming in full bore. Felt so nice. So now you just coast. Just go to the inside safety apron, fall down in there, get out of the way. Of course, I didn't think anyone was going to pass me. Maybe the M&M car. And they're serious. They'll charge you $100 if you go ahead and take another victory lap. They'll charge you $100. And the set of 4 before us, they told car 10, you're going too fast coming around the top of the D. You gotta slow down. You're gonna miss the pit lane. You're gonna miss the road into the pit stop, and Sure enough, he did, and they just called out over the radio. They just said, give the black flag to car number 12, and they charged him because he just took his victory lap. So here I am, just kind of coasting in, trying to let the adrenaline run out, and it was not running out. It took me an hour or more to wipe the smile off my face. No bugs in my teeth, just happy. So I pull into the pit lane, coasting at this point, somewhere coming up here through it in neutral, and just kind of don't know where to park. But toward the end they say, hey, all cars coming into the pit stop, put your left front tire on the yellow line. So I jerked on over and got the left front tire there, and I hope I didn't scare the lady. And oh man, that was awesome.